Hats off to entrepreneurs. You bring value to our community by creating jobs and building wealth. Aspire Enterprise of Florida is your premier one-stop resource for strategic business coaching, business trainings, and business services. Our elite team of business professionals have over 30 years of expertise to serve small business owners, not-for-profit organizations, and individuals. Aspire Enterprise, where your needs are our priority.
Reputation is based on what others think or believe about you. Our character is who we truly are, and the moral fiber that guide us. Our city has a reputation and we need to elevate to the higher standard. I decided to run for mayor to see the city thrive. To its potential, together we can make it a better community. I am promoting sustainable growth in infrastructure and development in our beautiful city. By promoting and encouraging investors and corporations to ultimately develop our vast area of open land to increase our tax revenue, to develop, expand and beautify our bayfront area, downtown Palm Bay, to encourage investors to come in and increase our tax revenue. This increased revenue funding will provide job opportunities for the workforce in Palm Bay, enforce public safety by having a better budget for our police and fire department, modern parks, and provide better lighting for the youth in recreational areas, promote formal restaurant and nightlife to encourage residents of Palm Bay and visitors to spend more time in our city, provide better roads for rural Palm Bay and maintain current roads, provide new street lights for safety and peace of mind, to protect the health and welfare of our citizens and protect the environment. In these uncertain times, leading requires building alliances while at the same time diminishing conflict. Leader create conditions where people can choose new opportunities and new options. We can't make people change, but we can create an environment where they choose to. If elected mayor, I would like to donate my salary to the city budget for worthy causes. Our community needs an honest voice for the people to trust. I am Alfred Ramsey Agari, and I am running for mayor of the city of Palm Bay.
We need judges who work hard, have experience, integrity, and proven service to our community. Donna Gerner was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, and got through college and law school at the University of Florida with scholarships and part-time jobs. Donna chose to make our community her home and began serving us in 1995 when she joined the state attorney's office prosecuting crimes for more than a decade, helping to keep our families and our community safe. Donna Gerner opened her own office in Altamont Springs in 2007 where she fought for people just like you in civil and criminal cases. She helped families keep their homes during the 2008 foreclosure crisis and has recovered more than $250,000 for families in personal injury cases. She has defended criminal cases and represented juveniles. She was also a certified family mediator and knows how to address divorces, child custody, child support, time sharing, and alimony issues. Donna Gerner has tried hundreds of cases before judges and juries across Central Florida and has been awarded for her outstanding trial skills. She is board certified in criminal trial law and is one of only 443 attorneys in the state of Florida who hold this distinction. This vast experience places Donna Gerner in the unique position of having litigated a wide array of legal issues on both sides of the courtroom. She knows how to balance the law on an individual basis with no bias or assumptions. She has also been a volunteer for Teen Court and has been recognized for her pro bono service to our community. Donna Gerner believes in equal justice under the law, and her service to our community over the last 24 years proves it. Donna Gerner has the qualities and experience to be our next circuit court judge.
Hi, my name's Donna Gerner, and I approve this message.
How are you doing today? My name is Marika LaFell, and I'm running for Palm Bay City Council C2. I'm running to rebuilding the trust in Palm Bay City government, not taxing our residents out of their home, honoring the promise that we made to firefighters and police officers, creating a full functioning city government. And I'm asking you today, on August 18, 2020, vote for me, Barikia LaFell, because I am the change.
Hi, my name is Randy Foster. I'm running for Palm Bay City Council Seat 3. Leadership matters. If you want a future in Palm Bay, you got to elect a leader. And I'm the only one in my race that have federal, state, and local government experience as a leader. Manage budgets over millions of dollars in the federal government. Also, experience matters. We cannot take a chance with inexperienced candidates getting on the city council. I have the experience, I have the leadership to get the job done on day one. What I'm going to be focusing on is infrastructure. It's very important. We need to strengthen our infrastructure to attract major business, grow our commercial business. We need to bring jobs into Palm Bay and help our small business. And integrity. No one has the integrity I have. 25 years in law enforcement, 25 years in military, top secret clearance, background checks, you name it. We need a council that's going to end the corruption and the back dealings in the city council. So vote randyfoster.com, and I see you in November. Thank you.
Hi, Palm Bay. I'm Ron Medina, your candidate for mayor. With your support, when elected, we will immediately move forward to take the necessary actions to restore transparency, to restore accountability, responsibility, and the respect of our beloved city. It's evident through recent audit findings and oversights meeting in Tallahassee that our city has engaged in financial decisions that clearly have put our citizens and our financial stability at risk. The headlines of our city once promoted a city that cares, finalists for a City of the Year, and a community with a great future. Now, today, the headlines promote our city as one with escalating crime, an interchange to nowhere, mismanagement, state-imposed audits, and playgrounds closing due to equipment being unsafe. We must stop this downward spiral of our once financial secured, beautiful community. We drive through flooded roads, potholes, and traffic jams. I pledge to you as your next mayor, I will shine light on these past budgets along with the poor decisions made so we can get the answers our citizens deserve and our state leaders demand. I encourage a forensic audit of all our city operations so we can bring all these things to light. This process will not be easy, but our future and that of our children depend on each and every one of us, ensuring accountability, ensuring professionalism, immediately replacing finger pointing, mismanagement, the rubber stamp process that brought this audit upon us. There are many serious questions. The business and residents of our cities deserve a government that they can trust and believe in. It is important to address these issues head on, for they've made a target of ridicule and skepticism from our surrounding neighbors and our very own residents. This will require strong leadership, transparent and sensible policy decisions, and constant commitment to ethical conduct. As mayor, my first goal will be to restore trust in our government. Government for the people, by the people. This is truly an opportunity for leadership by example. And as your mayor, I'll pledge to you that if I vote to approve a contract with a company to do business with our city, I will prohibit myself from receiving any future campaign funds from that said company. And I will encourage our council members to do the same. I believe as elected officials, we're held to a higher standard. The citizens of Palm Bay will be my only priority. We will address the many concerns of the finding of the state audit and encourage the open participation of our residents to provide oversight in our budget process. Hashtag the public trust.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good evening, Palm Bay, and welcome to Palm Bay Live. Today, we have with us Mr. Matt Reed, who's going to be taking over the hosting duties for our debate, mayoral debate tonight. And welcome, Mr. Reed. How are you doing?
Kevin, thank you for having me tonight. I'm excited to be here listening to our candidates for Palm Bay Mayor, and we're going to be covering so many great topics tonight, everything from vision for the city to how you'd cope with corruption to dealing with infrastructure, and it's a lot to learn, but it's so important.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And so tonight I'm going to be handing over duties, like I said, to him. And please share, like, and share the screen, share this video throughout, please, on social media, wherever you can, to your friends, your neighbors, because this is a very, very important the debate tonight. And I thank Mr. Rick Therese for blessing us tonight with the national anthem. He was able to come in and help us out with that. And it's great to have citizens' participation in this political arena. And so thank him for coming. Tonight, we won't be having Mr. Alan Borowski with us tonight. Unfortunately, he has a family emergency. So we only have the three candidates. Three candidates will be here tonight with us. So right now, I'm going to turn over my hosting duties to Mr. Reed, and I'm going to bring on the candidates on the screen along with Ms. Fisher. She's going to be doing the first line of questioning, and Mr. Reed will take over from here.
Okay, well, thank you, Kevin. As he just mentioned, Corey Fisher will be one of our moderators tonight, asking questions on the subjects that we talked about that are of such great concern to the city of Palm Bay. And the candidates who are here are Mr. Alfred Agari, Kay Mirage, and Rob Medina. And so the way this will work is our moderators will ask a question. Each candidate will get 2 minutes to answer each question, and then we'll give each candidate 1 minute to follow up. If they have anything they want to rebut or respond to, they'll have that opportunity. They don't have to take that time, but we'll give them that opportunity as the night progresses, and we'll just we'll dive into these subjects for as long as we need to. So why don't I go ahead at this point and give Ms. Fisher a chance to ask the first question. We'll start with, I'll rotate the order in which the candidates respond to make sure that things stay somewhat even and equal, and give everybody an opportunity to marshal their thoughts. But why don't we go ahead and start with him on your first question.
All right, thank you, Matt. My name is Corey Fisher, resident of Palm Bay for 10 years. And we're going to start with some visions about Palm Bay. So my first question is, what do you see as the greatest obstacle for Palm Bay, and how do you plan to turn it into Palm Bay's greatest opportunity? The greatest obstacle, how do you plan it into the greatest opportunity for Palm Bay?
Well, again, when we start with Mr. Agari.
Yes, good night for the question. I thought we were good doing like an introductory first. We're going directly to the question right away.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder. Why don't we do a cold open with this question? We'll come back and I'll give everyone a chance to do that introduction.
Okay, what was the question? I wasn't.
What do you see as the greatest obstacle for Palm Bay, and how do you plan to turn it into Palm Bay's greatest opportunity?
Well, in my eyes, the greatest obstacle is in the way of Palm Bay right now is this corruption problem we got. I think we need to get that cleared up before we can make any productive move. In my eyes, we need to clear that up first. Then we can always put, a better council and a better mayor in the system that we can sit down and, have some vision put in place that we can be productive. We have the COVID-19 situation so far, and we have to focus on more of our needs in this time than our wants. A lot of candidates or a lot of people may say we need this and all kind of stuff that we definitely can do without at this time. We have to spend money wisely, make sure we save where we can, and we definitely prepare for these uncertain times. Thank you.
Okay, why don't we move on to Kay Mirage.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Kay Mirage here, candidate for mayor. Do you want me to go ahead and introduce yourself, or just go right into answering the question?
Let's start out answering that question. We'll come back around and I'll give everyone a chance to do that. Just general introduction to get some of what you want to say.
So the biggest obstacle in Palm Bay, I do believe, has to do with the lack of trust amongst the residents when it comes to city government versus residents. I think that's a huge issue, because what that does is affect us going forward, how the city communicates with the citizens. It's a big issue. My goal is to make sure that once I'm the next mayor, is that we are looking at strategic ways to address this problem. The city of Palm Bay, unfortunately, does not have a strategic plan, and so without being able to without having that strategic plan, it gives the sense of nothing is really happening. People are not sure what's going on in the city. So what I intend to do is ensure that we create that strategic plan, working with the city citizens, ensuring that we're bringing that public trust so they too can be a part of how Palm Bay goes forward.
Thank you. How about Rob Medina?
Our greatest obstacle is clearly restoring the public trust in our community. And as I've said many times, even before this was a topic, I said that the corruption that has plagued our city, we once is part of the headlines of the Florida Today. We were once an all-star American city, finalists 2 years in a row, and that has been plagued with different reports and negative reports. How do we restore that? The first thing we have to do is transparency and accountability. Matt, it's interesting you asked that question, because just a few years ago, I did run for office, and there was something that you led, and that was campaign finance reform. Well, right along with that, that's what I propose as the next mayor of Palm Bay. If I'm on that council and I approve a contract, and this is actions, I'm going to prohibit myself from garnering any future campaign funds from that entity that I approved the contract. And I'm going to encourage the rest of council to do the same. It's leadership by example. It's about transparency and keeping those lines of communications open with the city. Restoring the public trust is critical to how we move forward. But let's not stop there. We have several other items that we have to engage in. We got folks that are getting shot, teenagers getting shot in parks. We've got other critical issues. So we need to restore that community policing. We need to continue to fund the police. We need to continue to engage the public trust and engage our citizens and providing prosperity through jobs and creating that market to create opportunities for our youth.
Thank you. I think with this, we'll stick with the format for now. And if there's anything that I'll give you each an opportunity, if you want to take a minute to respond or rebut to anything that was just said. If you don't feel like you need to take that opportunity, you can go ahead and pass. But why don't we go with Mr. Agari? Is there anything you would like to respond to?
No, sir. It's good. I'm satisfied.
Okay, Ms. Mirage.
Yes, I know Mr. Medina mentioned, of course, not taking campaign donations. That to me is the bare minimum that we should expect from anyone in council. It should, if you are in a situation where you actually have, done business with somebody in the past, or if you are associated with them, the typical thing that we do on the boards, we recuse ourselves. So that is the bare minimum that anybody should expect. And so for me, that is without a doubt something that we'll I will do without a doubt. And so it is not so much of a higher standard, it's just the right thing to do for anyone on council. Thank you.
Mr. Medina?
I can tell you this right now, it's never been done before. It's something that should have been done. It's unethical in my eyes, but the bottom line remains that it's always been done. So I set that precedent, and I will continue and raise my right hand and continue to set that precedent and lead by example.
Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's give you, now that we've started things off pretty hot, why don't we go back around, and I'll give you each a minute or two to just introduce yourself generally and why you're running for office and a little bit about who you are. Why don't we start with this? We'll go with Mr. Agari this time.
Yes, I am Alfred Agari. Alfred Ramsey Agari, a longtime resident of the city of Palm Bay. My wife and I have been happily married for over 40 years. Together, we got 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. My 4 children, in turn, gave us 13 grandchildren. We all live, work, and play in the city of Palm Bay. I have been a resident here for the past 35 years, and I love that I have for this city. I've been donating, contributing, and volunteer for this city for all these years. I donate and contribute, fill dirt to the homeless veteran project over the years. I donate and contribute white sand to the sandbag project in the hurricane season. And I also donate to the youth hunger program over these years. I am a volunteer, and I volunteer for the Parks and Recreational for the past 10 years. I volunteer for the Community Development Board over another 2-3 years. And currently I am on the Code Enforcement Board at present. I am the type of person who try to help and assist in this city where everything is concerned. I also a founder of a non-profit organization. It's called WICCS. It's West Indian, Caribbean Culture and Sports. My goal in this organization is to educate and promote culture and sports to our youth in their well-being and their future development, because we have a very diverse community, and I'm from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica, and we try to help and assist most of these young people to make sure they do the right thing and be productive in our city. Over these years, we had 2 successful business. I got a garage, a mechanic shop, and I'm a successful business person for the past 25 years doing 2 productive business. I got a trucking company that pretty much one of the largest in our city of Palm Bay. So with my experience of over 25 years doing a successful business in this city, I think I got the experience and the know-how how to get business going. And in that way, I think I should be a very good candidate for this job. Experience
Okay.
teaches knowledge and wisdom. Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for that introduction. Why don't we go now to Ms. Mirage?
Hi. Hello, Palm Bay. My name is Kay Mirage, and I'm running to be, of course, your next mayor. I currently sit on the Planning and Zoning Board as well as our Community Development Advisory Board. I'm a mom, I'm a small business owner, and my husband and I have been married for 19 years. And together we have an amazing 17-year-old son who is heading off to college. Palm Bay needs a fresh blood and bold leadership, one who is an embracer of change, diversity, and inclusion, who's proactive and think outside the box. They need to be free from conflict of interest and owes no favors to the who's who. Our next mayor should be informed and have a true understanding of the issues and be ready with plans to help solve them. They must be open-minded and have to be able to have dialogue with you and empathize with your concerns as citizens. I am that leader. I'm ready to work with council to earn back our public trust, to bring transparency and accountability to all levels of city government. I want to make sure that we're building a strong local economy where our small business can innovate and thrive, and where young people will choose to stay because there's opportunities for growth, both economically and socially. I am that unifying force, Palm Bay, that is ready to guide our city towards a smart growth and a very successful future. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that introduction. And now we'll go to Rob Medina.
My journey started right when I got honorably discharged from the United States Marine Corps, where my parents began a small business here. They transplanted here from New York City, and my father ran a successful business here. My mother retired as a New York City school teacher, and they built their family here. When I got discharged, I was scheduled to go to New York City and start the police academy, but I fell in love with Palm Bay. I fell in love with Palm Bay, and I started volunteering, whether it was as a little league coach or a football coach, and I met some great people along the way, and we did and accomplished so much. Leaders that I've come in contact with, I was a small spoke in the wheel where they named a high school that they said wouldn't be done. The naysayers said we wouldn't have a high school in Palm Bay. Guess what? Bayside High School was part of that. Then you had Heritage High School. I attempted to name those. Again, a small spoke in the wheel, attempted to name it the Veterans High School. We have baseball fields and roads that I played a small part in enhancing the quality of life in this community. I'm running for mayor because I've been called at this time, and this is the time where I believe I can restore the public trust in our community. No one else can say they have experience in county government, in federal government, and not in state government as well. Not only that, but the gift that I have that I can bring collaboration. I oversee a program that involves 10 different churches, 10 different churches coming together for the common good, where we serve 10,000 people. Yes, the Family Christmas Extravaganza. Perhaps you've heard of it. And I'm proud that I am that small spoke. I am that spark that can lead to change. I am that person that has a vision for this city and a vision that'll take it to higher and greater heights.
Well, thank you for that. I think now we're going to move on to a second question. I'm going to rotate the order in which people answer the questions, but I'm going to throw back to Kaori Fisher to go with another question that I believe she had ready for you.
All right. Hello again. Thank you for the introductions. My next question is, what is your leadership style, and what do you think is important in a leader?
We're going to start this time with Mr. Medina.
I'm a servant leader, and I'm a servant leader through God, honor, and integrity. I've led different churches. I've led different volunteers, over 300 volunteers. I led kids on the football field. I've led them on little league fields. You know, one of my proudest moments is when those children that I have coached over the years, They volunteered into serving something greater than themselves. They become United States Marines. They become United States soldiers. They become sailors and Coast Guardsmen. That is such a great reward because the discipline that they bring forth during that time, they get to lead others. And when you lead, it must be as a servant leader, rolling up your sleeves, leading the way. You have to be ready to have character because it's built inside of you. The integrity should be unquestionable. In the Marine Corps, it is about God and country and the leadership characteristics. We have a code that it is about the honor and the integrity of every mission. And you improvise, you adapt, you overcome. Things don't always go as planned. You have to be prepared to shift and transition to make that leadership work. That's the type of leadership I believe the city of Palm Bay needs. It needs a leader that can lead with discipline. It needs a leader that can lead with integrity and experience. The experience I have is unmatched. And I'm grateful for this journey that I've been on because I stand on the shoulders of giants here locally in our community. Thank you.
That's a good question about leadership style. We'll go next to Mr. Agari.
Yes, sir. This leadership in my eyes, in my experience, is you got to dedicate yourself to lead, and you got to dedicate yourself to listen, because especially in this office of a mayor, you have people that you actually working for, that you have to respond with them, and so you have to listen at all times. Experience is very important. I got 25 years experience in this city running a productive business, 2 productive business, and I employed like 40 people at every week, sometimes even more, sometimes a little less, but average about 30 to 40 people that I have to instruct and lead, in a sense where you have to dispatch the units, you have to make sure they do the right job, and you have to follow. Because if you don't maintain an observation in what everybody does, you will not achieve the leadership you expect. And as I said, one of the main importance is experience. And experience is something that you can prove over the years of performance. And we need to be a person that we can work together. Leadership is another thing where you have to make sure you can work together. You can sit down with your council member, the directors of every department, and you have different meetings and keep up to date of what is happening into the city, not sitting and waiting for the time when things get all out of hand, then you start grabbing up on it. You need to focus on it on a regular basis and make sure you keep up with the pace of every department in the city, because this city to me is like a business. And if you have a good business experience and a productive business, some of our candidates, they don't even own a home. And we have to look at these things. We're experienced. You have to can able to take care of your home. You have to take care of your children. You have to take care of your car. You have to take care of your mortgage and all your utilities. So that alone is an expense, is an experience that you have to develop at home before you come to this city to try to run a city. So I think leadership is something where you have to have within yourself to make sure you can perform, listen, and do your job with your experience. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next we'll hear from Kay Mirage.
Yeah, so my leadership style is one of collaboration. I am one that loves working with people, making sure that people feel like they're a part of the process. I've been leading since I was a teenager. I had my first nonprofit at 16 years old, working with young women to make sure that they are feeling safe, working with the UNICEF, and being actually on trade missions to the Caribbean, doing trade collaborative work, working with the UN on Summit on Africa. My goal has always been how do you make it better? How do you make sure that everyone feels included? And that's a leadership style that I would bring. Right now, I see on council where people are, it's all about ego. Who can do it better? Who feels like, they're the best one there. My goal is to change that, flip the script, making sure that not only the persons on council are working collaboratively and we're sharing ideas, but also inclusive, where we are including our staff, we're including citizens. We have to have that leadership style. We can't be about us. We can't be about I'm the one who did this. I'm a part of it. No. I don't lead that way. It is it's very important to me that every person, and Mr. Medina talked about a cog in the wheel. Everyone has to play a role, and we have to make sure that they feel included, their ideas are valid, and they have a role to play in helping our city. And that's what I hope to bring. That is my leadership style. And of course, without a doubt, an open door policy to ensure that we are making sure transparency and accountability is always at the forefront. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you. Ms. Fisher, do you have another question that we want to go to at this point, or a
Yeah,
follow-up?
one more question for Vision. So this one's a little bit of a tough one, but knowing the past problems with corruption, arrogance, and lack of concern from some of the city council and mayor's office and staff, what is your plan to regain the trust of the citizens of Palm Bay? I know some of you have addressed them in your opening remarks, but your thoughts on that?
Okay, this time we will start with Kay Mirage.
Okay. Now, of course, that's something definitely on my platform to make sure that we are, of course, bringing transparency and accountability. It is so important that we recognize the value of our citizens and the role they play. We have always had the situation where the citizens we tell them what to do. I want to change that. That's why I propose having a citizens think tank. It will involve the citizens play a role, an active role in how we move forward, how we create our strategic plan. As I mentioned earlier, the city of Palm Bay doesn't really have a strategic plan how we go forward. That would be my approach day one, creating that strategic plan and involving our citizens are part of the process. Also, the way we communicate to our citizens. Every day, I know a lot of citizens talk to me, and it's always a surprise. Every information that comes out, there's the first time they're knowing, they know it through the grapevine. We want to change that. We want to actively be our citizens engaged, open that line of communication, not only on social media, but finding out exactly how does the citizens of Palm Bay get their news, getting that data and making sure that they're part of the process. It's very important that when we look at development, not just look at it as a way where, hopefully the people accept what we bring to them, but again, making sure that we are collaborating with our citizens, looking at quadrant development in a part that's sitting in each areas of our city. We're a huge city. Going to Northwest Palm Bay, sitting with those citizens and saying, what is it that you need? We're here to listen and learn, and then now together we make we start improving our city together. Thank you.
Very good. Now let's go to Rob Medina.
Like I said before, I think it's important to recognize some people will say, oh yeah, that should be the standard anyway. But the truth remains that if you're sitting on that dais and you approve a contract, no one has ever prohibited themselves. No one has ever prohibited themselves from garnering future campaign funds from any company. And I proposed that. I proposed it 4 years ago. Campaign finance reform, just like you, Matt, that was very successful throughout the state when you work for the Florida Today. I believe that a collaboration is critical to getting the message out, is always staying engaged. Part of that, we can always communicate with those people that have water bills. We can pass on information in that regard. They're sending out a bill anyway. Why not include information on board meetings to have people and encourage them to engage? You know, transparency is more than just saying transparency. Community is more than just saying, hey, be part of the community. It's about getting out into the community and engaging with people. And I realized that during this time, this season, we've had our challenges, but I've been able to do exactly that, is engage the community even before this COVID. And I believe once this is over, we'll be able to do that again. You know, what's devastating is the fact that if we don't build relationships with each other, that's going to hurt us in the long run. And I've built relationships throughout my 32 years of being in Palm Bay, whether it's been helping any volunteer out, helping out any organization. I'm proud to announce that even the Palm Bay Firefighters Union have engaged and endorsed me for this campaign, because they have known that over the years I've stood by and supported the men and women that don a uniform to protect us each and every day. That is part of garnering the trust in people and garnering the trust of our community. I will restore the public trust through that collaboration, through the trust that I've built over the 32 years of volunteerism and loving on people. I love this city, and I want to do the right thing for this city because I truly care about families and enhancing the quality of life of our community.
Thank you for that. And next we'll hear from Alfred Agari.
Yes, sir. This question is basically, you said, what would a mayor do to gain the trust of the citizen?
Yes. What is your plan to regain the trust of the citizens of Palm Bay after what has happened?
Yeah, that's fine. Well, the trust, I already have this experience in the city. I've been donating and contributing to this city, physically assisting to build this city. Ever since I came here, for the past 25 years, I physically helped to build this city. I am in the land clearing and fill dirt business, and I meet and greet these citizens on a day-by-day basis. As I said, I contribute to so much different organization physically. I'd feel so good, but the last time I dropped a couple loads of white sand down by that BCC college, the sheriff, the sergeant in the sheriff department, he came and shook my hand because the quality of sand that I dropped there, that was a white sand, and these prisoners had a load of some real black looking stuff. I don't even know if it was sand, and they were trying to sieve it out. And I do this from the depth of my heart. This is a personal feeling about this city. As I said, my immediate family is like 25 of us, between my wife, my children, my grandkids, and my mom. And we all rooted right here. And I got kids that use this opportunity. I've been out there in the soccer field. I've been out there in the parks. I had contract with the Brevard County over the years. For 8 years in a row, I won the bid 4 times. And the reason for you to want to bid is you're doing something. At least you had a low price. So you're helping the city, you're helping the county. And I meet and greet all these parks and recreational in this county. I deliver material personally to these parks. So over the years, I know what it takes to build relation. And as my biggest issue with relation and transparency in our council and mayor office is to make sure, and I will elaborate on this a million times, we have to set a better standard for these offices. People has to be financially stable in my eyes to run these offices and have a good business experience, because we have council member and mayor making decision that will swing our city up or down, swing it under too. And we can't afford that. We need more responsible people and experienced people to make decisions that our city can maintain a good relation and stay afloat, especially in these hard times. These hard times, I think you got to make sure you spend wisely. At your home, you got to do the same. Spend wisely and save as much as you can, because this is an uncertain time. We don't even know when we're going to get over this COVID-19. And we need to just make sure we be transparent is a key thing that we have to make the citizen know by having meetings at the city council and inviting most of these citizens, I told them, I said, please come to the meetings and voice your opinion, because everybody complains, but nobody participates. And we have to send more messages out to make more citizens participate. Thank you.
Okay.
Do we get to your?
Do we want, yes, we'll give each person an opportunity if they would like it to respond or rebut to anything that came up. Why don't you go ahead and take a minute, Mrs. Mirage?
Yes, I would definitely. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I would say go ahead and start.
Oh, okay. So I'd definitely like to take a minute, because what I just heard is I'm the best, I'm the greatest. And that is exactly what we've been fighting in city council, this level of ego. It is one that has basically just caused nothing to happen in council. And the question asked about what you as mayor would do to help bring transparency to the city, or to bring public trust. And it's not about you and you only. We're working as a city, and the goal is that the citizens need to be involved. Secondly, Mr. Medina mentioned, that he's always involved. But you know what? During COVID-19, you were noticeably missing. During the times when we actually had issues where people were marches out in the city, a community was hurting, you were noticeably missing, sir. So therefore, you can't just use that as saying, I've been here 30 years. What it means is that I'm sure there's going to be tons of excuses that you couldn't put out a statement. However, it is very important that we just don't say things and think it's okay. It's not about you. It's about the city of Palm Bay. Until we get that and start changing our attitude to our city, making sure that our staff, our city staff feels included, make sure that our citizens feel a part of the process, then it's very, very disingenuous to start talking about yourself when the question was about the city. Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to.
Okay. Well, hold a minute. Yeah. Do we get a time to respond?
Yes, you will. But first, I'm just going to go back in the same
I
order
don't think that's right. She called me out for some allegations. I think I should respond, Matt.
Exactly. Yes, go. Well, I think you were next to comment, so go ahead, Mr.
So
Medina.
the first thing I'd like to say, Ms. Mirage, is politics doesn't have to be this way. My level of integrity is totally different. I don't have to respond to those negative attacks. You have no idea of what was being done behind the scenes, how I was helping different people. I just didn't go up into the limelight. But I can tell you this, I love this city. I've been engaged with this city, and it is about collaboration. All those that know me understand my heart and understand that I truly care. And that is why people have partnered with me to become mayor of this great city, because I do care and I will do the right thing. It's not about me. It's about this city. It's about our children. It's about our grandchildren that we have. And so I say to you, politics doesn't have to be that way. I don't point the finger at anyone. I just get the job done, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for that. And we'll move on to Mr. Agari on this.
Well, yeah, I would have said the same thing too, as Mr. Medina said. Not trying to repeat what he's saying, but let me tell you, I have a reputation and I have a track record to help the people of this city. And if Miss Mirage want to go around, not even campaigning, just ask these citizens that you talk to if they know Alfie and what he does for this city, then you would think something different. When I talk, I am just telling you because the question based on what you as an individual will do or try to do to make this city any better, or the council to be any better. Council members are people that we need to be united with. We all have to make a decision. A mayor only have one vote, and we have 4 other votes to pass anything. But the thing is, you don't need to jump on anybody, because this is what I think in this life here is, if I can't jump on you for no reason, there's nothing you can say to really offend me, honestly, because I am the type of person like that. They say, who knows better, do better. And that's me. All I'm just saying is that I have a track record of doing valuable things for this city, not myself. I can build a wall 20 feet high in this city and live by myself and take care of my own life. I didn't need that. I donate and I volunteer and I contribute. So what are you saying? I don't understand. Thank you, sir.
The
Okay.
question asked for what you would do for collaboration. That's what I was asking about.
I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna shift subjects here. I'm gonna go back now to Kevin Bassiana, who's got our next question for the panelists. And again, we'll alternate who answers first, second, and third on this. Kevin?
Okay, great. Hello, guys, and welcome. Thank you. Lovely debate so far. Would you consider forensic audit? And it's a yes or no question.
Absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry.
Matt,
I'm sorry. Why don't we go ahead and start with Rob Medina this time?
Absolutely. I came out with a video. I believe that a forensic audit is like an investment into our community. It's trying to get into the nuts and bolts. In the military, that we call them IG inspections, and they get into the nuts and bolts of how things are working. And not only that, they identify any missteps, and they have the projection of identifying something in the future, a pitfall that we may fall into. So absolutely, it is a yes for me. I do believe that a forensic audit may financially cost a lot of money. However, Kevin, I believe that it's an investment in our future. It's an investment in our city.
Thank you.
Okay, next is Mr. Agari.
Yes, sir. That's a good idea. I think that is necessary because we need to find out stuff about our candidates. We need to do a background check. We need to do these kind of things to make sure everything is fine. So my answer to that question is yes.
Okay, well then the next respondent is Ms. Mirage.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would help with the public trust. And of course, it does cost. So that's something that is an issue. However, I think, as Mr. Medina mentioned, it is a worthwhile cost because it will help with that reinstatement of public of trust and knowing that we're starting off with a clean state.
Okay, well, those were some pretty tight answers, and it sounded like everybody was kind of on the same page. Maybe we skipped the rebuttal or response in this round. Is everybody okay with that?
I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Well, back to Mr. Bassiana then. You have a next question for our panelists?
Yes, I do. And we have highlighted corruption tonight so far. But how will you deal with current and past corruption issues and provide leadership to negate any future corruption issues?
Okay, well, on this one, we're going to start with Mr. Agari.
Yes, sir. Well, the main thing with corruption, and I will always say this, we need to check candidates out. In my eyes, every candidate has to be financially stable because this, to me, this is the first step for this bribery to be going on and this corruption to be going on. The second thing is transparency. Transparency where we have to be more open to the public, listen to the public, reason with the public on the outside and make sure we make everything transparent. One of the biggest thing I see is making sure that whatever we do as a council member or a mayor, we do this from our heart. We have to be personally involved in our city and feel proud of our city that we present. Ms. Kay was saying, me, or, say, kind of illustrating that. But I'm just saying is that we have to make sure we're not into this thing for making a big profit or making a big fame or something like that. We have to make sure we're doing this from the depth of our heart to the citizen and our children and grandchildren of this city and making it a better place that down the road 10, 15, 20 years we can feel proud of whatever we do in this city for our citizens. That's my outlook, sir.
Thank you for that. Next is Kay Mirage.
Can you please repeat the question?
Sure. How will you deal with current and past corruption issues and provide leadership to negate any future corruption issues?
Okay, so of course we had an audit, and that gave us a good sense of what are some of the things that we need to do. So start from there. Start looking at our audit and looking at some of the issues that we're still correcting or working on right now to correct. I would then start looking at how do we as a city create the proper oversight to ensure that if there's the full transparency when it comes to the procurement process. There's full transparency when it comes in how we move forward, how we work as a council. It is critical that we have the proper oversight in place, that we are not just leaving things up to chance. Well, over the years, what we've had is, you have heard in the back, it's some shake hand and it happens. No, there are people right now that are going off to prison and or at least charged with with some of the issues that we've had and that we've seen the headlines. And so we want to make sure that within the city itself, our staff, there's proper whistleblower protection for them, that people feel comfortable. If they see something, they can say something. We have to create an atmosphere where people are, again, are comfortable with talking about what they see. We have to also, again, be above board ourselves. It's very important that we make sure that ourselves as council members are operating above board at all times. And so I want to ensure that those things, the oversight, I want to ensure that our staff are comfortable to say something when they see something. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. How about next we go to Rob Medina?
So Matt, transparency is critical. And by that, I mean transparency. We've had allegations roaming. We've had FDLE reports that have been made public, and yet our council members have not discussed those things. We haven't had workshops to discuss how we prevent from those things happening again. How is it that we have an audit and we're not having workshops to disclose that information? A forensic audit is going to reveal a lot more than what this initial audit from the state has revealed. So I think that's part of the process. I think another part of the process is having that open dialogue with the citizens, confessing to those things and holding ourselves to a higher standard. All of that's going to take the buy-in, and we are going to have to police ourselves. We are going to have to make sure that we have a plan in place and protections in place for people to come through and be able to feel free that they can discuss openly what the charges are and what they've been accused of. And if there's any allegations of these things, then we have to have them fully investigated, and we have to charge folks to the full extent of the law. Just the appearance of corruption, and we have a long way to go, but I believe and I know that this city that was once an all-American city finalist can get to that same stature, can get to that same level that we once took the pleasure in having. That hometown type feeling, even though we're a pretty big city, it was a hometown type feeling where we felt our cars were protected, our homes were protected. So I'd love to get to that level of protection all of a sudden, but the corruption has got to be the first route that we pull out of this city and regain the public trust. And the way we do that is through the transparency that I just mentioned. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody that feels the need to respond or rebut to anything that came up in this round? Questions or?
I'm good.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and we'll do that. How about Mr. Agari, if you'd like to take 1 minute, go ahead and.
No, I'm fine. I was just saying I'm fine. It's okay.
Oh, you're fine. Okay, well that's fine. Well then I'll just go back around and ask Ms. Mirage, do you have anything you want to respond or add to?
I just wanted to I guess I agree with everyone. We have to be above board as a council and ensuring, as I said, making sure that we have those systems in place. It's not about just saying transparency. It's not about saying accountability. It is actually engaging with our city staff. They are there. They're seeing everything. They're part of the process. So we want to make sure they're protected. It's with a proper whistleblower protection to make sure that they feel comfortable. So I just wanted to add that.
Okay, Mr. Medina, anything you'd like to add?
No, sir. I've completed my statements. Thank you.
Okay, then let's move on to the next question. Mr. Vacciano, do you have another one for us?
Yes, I do. And the comment feed was actually lit up on this question already before I even get to ask it. So what are your thoughts on separation of church and state?
Okay, separation of church and state. Actually, in this round of questionings, we're going to start with Rob Medina.
So I'm a servant leader through God, honor, and integrity. It's not a statement. It's who I am. It's my lifestyle. Everywhere I go, I have the inner peace of my heavenly creator. And that's my gauge. That's who I am. There are people that say there's a separation, but our forefathers were clergymen. The men that actually wrote the Constitution of the United States had their own beliefs in a heavenly creator. And so there are people that want to separate the church and state, but the reality of it is you can't remove God from a person's lifestyle. I have a gauge. It's who I am. That's how I'm built. I'm a servant leader through God, honor, and integrity. That's my lifestyle. That's how it is. There are people that will say, how can you separate that God and state? I know that the inner peace in me when I make decision is who I'm going to guide, who's going to guide me. When there's a decision to be made, anyone that says they have the wisdom to do it, I'm here to tell you, I will lift up my eyes and I will ask the Lord for guidance. That's who it is that I seek my wisdom from. Any decision to the benefit of this city, of this nation. It's how I was built. It's how I feel inside. And that's my answer. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Alfred Agari. What's your take?
Yes, sir. Well, let me tell you, the separation of church and state, in my eyes, it's okay in a sense. It's just like everything else. We have our belief and we have God is within us. And I am a religious person myself, but it's like anything else. You go to work or you go to serve. You can focus on that. When I go home, I meditate on something else. If I go to the church, I meditate on something else. So these are some of the things that it can be separated in a sense, but not to an extreme that we don't recognize God. We have to recognize God in everything. And the other thing is we need to build up our own mind and moral about decision. In the Bible, it says, God help those who try to help themselves. So you can't sit and depend on God all day long of your life, because I know people that never progress because they put their trust so much in God that they don't even do something to benefit themselves. But, church and state is a cry over the years, because when the pastor is preaching about God, it's the worst thing for him to bring politics in the church, because the church is a place of God, and the political office is a place of politics and to try to run the country on a political level. So in my eyes, it can be separated in a way, because on our US dollars it says, "In God we trust." We mention God so many ways in this life, and in an instant we shut him out of everything. Like I was watching a thing on the media the other day, where a guy was saying we shut God out of everything, and then COVID came in. So these are some of the things where this is what it is sometime. And church and state, it's okay. We say the grace. We even on the council meeting, they say the word of prayer. I forgot his name, but he came all the time and he said a word of prayer before the meeting start and stuff like that. So, it can be separated to an extent, but not to the fullest. Thank you.
Okay. K. Mirage.
Yeah, so definitely I do believe in the separation of church and state. I think Mr. Agar said it, when it's time for God, it's God. When it's time for, meeting, it's meeting. It doesn't mean that you don't personally have your personal savior that you are, connected to. It doesn't mean that at all. What it means is that it is not the defining factors of everything that you do in the council, because we live in a diverse city. So we have to be mindful of that. So the simple answer for me is definitely separation of church and state.
Okay.
May I add?
We can go back around if anybody would like to take a few seconds to respond or rebut.
So I just like to
Medina,
ask,
you are up.
Yes, sir. So I just like to state that every congressional session there is the ability to hone in and bring prayer in, and in that invocation by definition is to invoke God into the very presence of the chambers, so that He assists you in making decisions that are right for His people. And so I understand where you're going with the separation of church and state, but this is a little bit more. That question is a little bit more targeted because of my faith. And let me just share something with you along those lines. I am not the type of person that I put God in my pocket and then I bring Him out when I need Him. I'm always needing Him. I'm always wanting Him near me. He'll never leave me nor forsake me. And in politics, especially. And let me just also emphasize that in religion, all churches are part of the political scheme as well. And even the Sanhedrin Council, which was the time of religiosity, the Israelites, as the Bible calls it. But you can't put God in your pocket or put Him in a closet and then take Him out when you need Him. He's got to be with us each and every day and demonstrate the love for all people.
Okay. Next, Mr. Agari, did you want to rebut or respond? Take a minute.
Yes, sir. Yeah, as I said, it's like a friend. A friend in need is a friend indeed. And we can't just call our friend or call upon our friend on the face of the earth when we only need them. It's the same thing with God. But what I'm just saying is we can separate it in a sense where when we go, don't bring church into the council and don't bring the council into the church. But where God is concerned, the Christian says we have Jesus in our heart all the time. He's with us, whether you believe it or not. So in my eyes, it's hard to say we're going to separate, but to an extent, we're going to have to. It's a time for everything. So in that way, I leave it at that. I will definitely look forward to pray to God every chance I get. I go to the council, we pray to the council members, and we pray to the citizen to make sure we have a good city running in a fine way. And when I leave, I pray to God. Thank you.
Okay. And finally, Kay Mirage, you've got your chance to respond or follow up.
No, I think I said it all. I definitely believe in separation of church and state. And Mr. Gary, I love that one. You don't bring the church into council.
Okay. And now we're going to go back with our one of our moderators, Kaori Fisher, with the next question.
Okay. So my next questions are on infrastructure. Considering how the city is expanding, what is your priority for infrastructure growth, and how do you plan on funding it?
Okay, the first person up in this round is Kay Mirage.
Okay, so the priorities are numerous, but in terms of course, continuing with our road is definitely something that we want to make sure we're focusing on and still continuing to do. The good thing is that there is a plan for that. It's already a 5-year plan. Of course, the next on the list has to be when it comes to our sewer treatment plants. If we are going to say to every new construction that we want to make sure that you're connected to city water, your city and city sewer, is very important that we start making sure that those things are properly funded. Again, I've actually had the opportunities to talked to the different directors. And what I've seen is that they do have some plans to go ahead in terms of expanding and improving some of these plans that we have. But that is critical that we focus on that. In terms of maintaining and funding these projects, it's very important that right now we are looking at our new budget, that we have these things as line items, a part of the budget process. However, we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of grants. I've always said that Palm Bay needs a grant writing team. I was pleased to listen today that they're actually looking to get a specific grant writer. We have to look at all the alternatives to be able to fund these projects. But the most important thing, if we're looking to make sure that we are funding things properly, we need to start improving our looking at our revenue aspect and figuring out how to actually grow that. So just to tie it all up, it is looking at our sewer and sewer and water treatment plants, and also wanting to make sure that we're continuing with our road projects. And can I add?
Medina.
Oh,
go ahead.
Was that my minute up? I was 2 minutes up. I wasn't sure. If I had
a little bit of time left.
Okay, if I had a few seconds left, I want to make sure, of course, we are looking at infrastructure when it comes to, police and fire, and looking at what we're capital investments. So that's something I also want to expand that to. Thank you.
Okay. Rob Medina.
So our infrastructure is critical, and our waste and sewer plants are critical. We have a road program, thank God for that, and I know Kevin was very active with that, so congratulations to that effort. The only thing is that if it would have been studied, we would have recognized we had some shortfalls. So there is a plan in place. The beautiful thing is that there's a plan in place, and it's for 5 years. This next council is going to have to think of ways on how to increase that, how to fund that. So my proposal, and I was just listening to the budget workshop before we started, where it seems that we're 800,000 short from our general fund because of the COVID. However, I wasn't able to listen to the entire meeting or the entire workshop. I will say that there is an opportunity for us at this juncture to start looking at identifying how we're going to take funds and keep setting it aside for our public safety, which means our infrastructure. We are growing and we are busting at the seams. Right now, we got an interchange that's just about to open. And pretty soon we'll have developers wanting to develop that land, and a waste sewer plant. And all of those infrastructure needs are necessary. Babcock Street right now, you've probably written on it. And that is a horrible situation for people that have to use that corridor. So those are sacrifices that we're going to have to look at, and some tough decisions are going to have to be made. How are they going to be sustained? We're going to have to really tighten up our purse strings and work on retaining those roads, increasing those roads, because that capacity is just going to continue to increase. Smart growth is when you identify in a comprehensive plan where you're going to move forward strategically, where you're going to actually build from a center point out. You just can't create this continual sprawl. There is going to be some impact fees that we're going to have to look at and say, okay, we've got these roads. You're going to have the developers, you're going to have to partner with us, and we're going to have to start charging you these impact fees, maybe even at a higher level. I don't know the answer, but I know that some tough decisions are going to have to be made for these roads and these infrastructures. And that's how you sustain it. That's how you start bringing in those finances. There are other programs that we could look at, but right now, the impact fees are the way that we're going.
Okay, thank you for that. Alfred Agari.
Yes, sir. Well, the infrastructure is very important, and we have so many things need to be fixed. The road, as the other candidate mentioned, say for instance, that's already taken care of. Our city water, our sewer system need to be addressed. The police need to be addressed. They need probably 10 new cars. We need some fire trucks. We had some infrastructure went up, some building investment with some apartment building. They had, I don't know, 4 or 5 floors. and we don't even have a ladder truck to go to one of these buildings, and they are made from wood structure they made from. If this thing get caught fire, even if they had to call the Brevard County to come and rescue it, that thing will burn right down to the ground. So there is so many things. We have street light situation where where safety is concerned, we have to be putting up a lot of street lights. We have to putting up a lot of reflected sign in the city, for visitors, for the safety of the citizen itself. So there is so much things in infrastructure need to be fixed. One of the things I thought we could do is to try to promote investors to come in to do some investment in commercial business. We have some residential investors that are trying to put some houses together, and it's a slumber right now because of the COVID-19 situation. Everything kind of sits back. The city probably lost maybe $10 million from sales tax revenue in the city right now. So there's a lot of things we would want to get done, but I think we have to try to focus on the priority needs, what we really need to get this city off the ground, because right now it's getting in a downfall because of the present COVID situation, the corruption situation. So, we just lose a city manager again. Everything kind of been disorganized and need to, knit back together that we can start, from fresh. So right now, the infrastructure needed, as I said, there's so many things need to be fixed in this city because everything just been dragging along over the years and never get done. This new highway, and I must say to Mr. Rob that the Babcock Street situation, the Babcock is actually owned by the Brevard County. The city don't have to pave that, but they had to fix that junction right there to make sure this road is open. This road is scheduled to open in October, that we can ease some traffic and utilize some of this city spending we spend. The citizens can use this pavement. As I say, there's a lot of things need to be done in this city, and we need people that really have a heart for this city. And that's that. I will always say this because I know I have a heart for this city. I know Miss Mayoral don't like when I say hi, but I'm telling you that I can tell you about myself because I know where I stand. And we need to invite a lot of commercial business entity in the city that we can generate more revenue, and the revenue will help to take care of these outstanding things to be done in the city. Thank you.
Okay. So, Ms. Mirage or Mr. Medina, do you need a minute or 30 seconds to come back? Or
yes, sir. I'd like to address something. When it came to the negotiations of that interchange, the city had to absorb Babcock Street from the county in that section. That's my understanding. That was part of the negotiation. And as I worked for the county years ago, as you know, that's the first time that I've ever heard or ever witnessed that the city take a roadway or a corridor without it being improved. So I just want to highlight that. It's my understanding that that was part of the negotiations with that interchange. I'd also like to add that the infrastructure of public safety is critical. That's how you start to fund things, is that infrastructure, because if you can't get to the citizens and you don't have that roadway, and trust me when I tell you, it's when you need help, that's when you realize how important it is to have our first responders there, whether they're firefighters or whether they're law enforcement. So it's important for us to not only equip them, but make sure that they have the proper equipment, the proper tools, and the proper staffing and the staffing levels to reduce that response time to get to our citizens when they need the help.
Okay, Mirage, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'd like to add, and regards to the protecting our public safety by investing in the fire and police departments. That's actually on my platform because I realize how critical that is. The idea of using impact fees is great, but the primary goal has to be how do we improve our revenue. That's why with, again, a strategic plan, sitting down with staff and making sure that we are creating line items by line items, actual solutions to the issues that we have, and not just using lip service and listening to them. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Alfred Agari, if you need another minute to wrap up, respond, or rebut, it's yours.
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, as I said, the infrastructure, we have to find a way to set up a task force in this city to deal with negotiations. Because negotiation, we need people that can negotiate to get some commercial investment. I am proposing like one of these terminal for the Walmart or something, where we, as I said, we got so much open land in this city. We got a little bit too much land, and we need to do some commercial advertisement, that we can do some commercial business to generate more revenue. There's a lot of things need to take care in the city. Thank you.
Okay, and we'll go back for another question from Ms. Fisher.
Okay, so question 2 on infrastructure. You know, you all touched on the roads a little bit, and it has to do a very frequently asked question from Palm Bay Live. In light of the many issues with the Parkway I-95 project, what would you have done differently, and what will you do for the future if you're elected?
This round, we'll start with Rob Medina.
So with that interchange, that partnership, of course, with state and county as well, I think with experience and the relationships that my experience has fostered throughout the years, collaboration is critical. I've been able to collaborate with, like I mentioned before, 10 different churches. I currently am a staffer for the U.S. House of Representatives, Congressional District 8, and part of my duties is to collaborate. It's something that I've been gifted with, and I'm able to bring in different parties to build a consensus and move forward. It's about checking your ego at the door, and it's about seeing what we can do to improve the city, what we can improve to accomplish one goal, and that goal is to benefit and enhance the community, enhance the quality of life of our citizens, our families, create jobs and prosperity. And so with that said, when those different relationships come in, sometimes it's difficult. I once said this in an interview, and I know that one of my opponents mentioned the city manager and being a new city manager when the new council takes over. City managers typically don't last but 3 to 5 years, if that. And I once saw a man lead a council of five different individuals, different personalities on a continual basis. His name is Tom Jenkins. He was a county manager for 20 years. That to me, that was unheard of back then, and I think it's unprecedented, and I don't know if it'll ever be repeated. And I say that because each and every council member has different personalities. Each and every person is going to bring their own gifts to the table, and it's how you work together, not only with council, but with other governmental entities like the school board. Same thing with Brevard County. I believe that personalities may conflict sometimes, and that carries over. I believe that if I were part of the process, perhaps we would have had a different outcome. I know that I would have worked really hard to buy in and get everyone's partnership before any finger pointing, because that's ultimately what happened. There was finger pointing. The county was pointing at the city was pointing at the state was pointing at everyone. And so that progress, it stalled because of the finger pointing. And that's why I seem to know that when you roll up your sleeves and you accomplish a mission by cohesiveness, by collaboration, by knowing what the goal is and doing whatever it takes to accomplish that mission, it's a teamwork approach. And I've been part of the team for 32 years, and I'm honored to be running for this mayor seat because I have been part of the team. And so I believe that would have played a critical role in that solution. It would have been in a teamwork approach, man.
Okay. Next is Alfred Agari.
Yes, sir. I kind of get a little misled. What the question was?
In
What
light
the
of
question?
in light of the many issues with the Parkway I-95 project, what would you have done differently, and what will you do for the future if you're elected?
Well, yeah, I kind of get misled. But anyway, in my eyes, this is where experience as a business operator is important, because this decision on this roadway was so badly decision was made. It wasn't a business principle, because I guess nobody on this council probably knows what a road project looked like. Because what had happened is that this project, you have to make good decision, you have to have good contract in place and commitment to the end of a project. So they had went ahead and signed this contract and make this deal in whatever way they think is right. And in the end of the day, this project was faced with a lot of work orders and changes in the line of the project, and it end up with financial problems. The main contractor couldn't get paid in time, and then it was a lot of politics too with the Brevard County candidate. The Brevard County Council, the commission, it become a politics in our district. And this is something we need to stop, where people get things personal, and we need to have experienced people in these office to make good decision. Decision is what it make make the world go round. And what they did on this is so much a negative, reflecting on experience and bad decision. And this is the end result, where the road paved and finished, and we don't even have a intersection on the slate. We have to have a new contract. This contract was done in June, sometime in June. It was done for a new line of work, and all these things should be in a plan. It has to be in a plan what it requires for doing a job and get it done. So these are just bad management, inexperienced kind of line of work, and we have a bad job in the end of the day. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Kay Mirage.
Yes, so clearly, they dropped the ball from county to state. Everybody dropped the ball, and it's really unfortunate that the citizens of Palm Bay actually had to pay for this error. And so, for me, what I would definitely bring is making sure that we have proper oversight when you're making these big contracts. It's very important that everybody is involved. Come to the table and we discuss this. It's very, very important that we don't just assume one person, the city manager, will take care of it. When you're talking millions of dollars and big projects like this, we have to make sure that proper oversight is there. That's simple as it. We cannot continue to hope that it will take care of itself. I heard Mr. Medina mention that he is. He said he was a staffer at, was it that you can answer me later, but was it that he was going to use that connection in the city to make further decisions? I wasn't clear on that, and that's something that I would definitely love to understand. However, it's very important that we have the proper oversight in place. We're a big city. We should start acting like it and start ensuring that we're bringing the professionals in on these deals, making sure that it's open to public scrutiny, and we have to make sure that's the case all the time. Thank you.
So what I brought to the table was that I was a county staffer, and I understand those relationships between the county and the city. I will add, though, that during this process, and I asked Mr. John Denninghoff from the county where the DRI was, the Development Regional Impact Study for that project. Interestingly enough, he couldn't provide one. DRIs are done for any shopping centers. DRIs are done for any malls that are built. And what that is it's a regional impact study. That study will show you how it's going to impact the corridor, any connecting roads, and so on. And interestingly enough, that was not completed. Usually the developers have to provide a DRI. It has those have to be completed. And so interestingly enough, it wasn't there. So that's what I meant by the county experience that I bring to the table. Thank you.
Okay, and next, if you want a chance to respond or rebut, Mr. Agari, it's your turn.
Yes, sir. Well, all I'm saying is that in this situation where you're doing a contract, this thing got to be viewed by staff. We have an engineer, we have a development director, and they all have to work together to overview this site plan and see the requirement that we need to have a job done. And whatever the pricing negotiates, we have to have better ways to negotiate. This project, for instance, I'm not talking about relation, and because this is business, we can't look at relation where this is concerned. This is something that we're spending the taxpayer dollars to build this road for our city, the county involved, the state involved, but our portion of the city funding is paid by our citizen in this city. And we have to spend the money wisely and give accountability for what we spend. So the decision is a key item in this project, because I suffer on it too. I was working on this project, and I know that this thing is not supposed to happen when we have a business structure and we have to make a business decision. We need some business people to help to make these decisions. Like Ms. Maraj was saying about the citizen and transparency, that's important. But in these cases, we need professional staff and the city council and the mayor to be involved on decisions like these to make sure it's properly done. I went to council meeting all the time, and I see where the council is depending on the staff to advise them what is right from what is not right. And in this case, we need good professional staff that can lead us in the right direction. So in my eyes, the decision is the key. Business experience and decision is key in this particular instance. Thank you.
Okay, and Kay Maraj, you've got an opportunity now to respond yourself.
Oh, I was saying business or not business, there's a proper way to do a contract. And so, I do them every day. But there's a proper way to do huge contracts. And so what I was originally saying is that when you're making huge decisions or big contracts like this, it's very important that it's open to public scrutiny. But of course, the staff that we have or legal, every department that's relevant to this has to be a part of that process. And we want to make sure that we are putting those oversight in place, that we are not shortchanging ourselves as a city because we leave things out of the game. We can't expect, I guess you would anticipate that state and county and everybody who's a part of the process will make sure that they're putting the proper oversight in and they're filling in these gaps. However, as a city, when it costs the taxpayers money, we better make sure that we have our ducks in a row. And that's what I will ensure that we're doing. No surprises here. Thanks.
Okay, well, we've got, it's about 9:20. It looks like we've got time for one question and maybe a sign off here. Why don't we, who's got the next question? Is it Kevin Batsiana?
Yes. Well, we're going to try to do a couple, but we're going to try to make it very lightning fast. So I need for you guys to answer this question in with a yes or no, not a long paragraph. Okay. So here's a question, and because I have a couple more behind it that I'm going to ask. What are your thoughts on defunding the police? Yes for defunding, no for defund. What is it? Yes or no? Let's go around the room really quick, Matt.
I've got the order. If we're going to start with Kay Maraj this time.
Do not defund the police. We, again, on my platform, it's there. We have to make sure that we're investing in our police and fire departments.
Okay.
Rob Medina.
Absolutely, emphatically, no way.
Okay.
Okay. Alfred Ajari.
I guess we all decide on the same thing. I don't think our police need any defunding at this time. Thank you.
Okay, great. Do you know the current millage rate, what it is, and how would you adjust it? I mean, please try to shorten your answers.
We'll go in the same order. Start with K. Mirage.
Yes, the current millage rate is 8.1327, I believe. And right now, again, if we watch the workshop today, we're looking at using that 3% cap, which we're probably bringing out to 7.8.
Okay, Rob Medina.
Cap is that what the opponent said, and there is a cap. So what's interesting is that we have to look at ways of bringing finances in other than taxation, sustainability through other means.
Alfred Agari.
Yes, sir. The millage rate is actually 8.1379. The millage rate got inflated because I think they thought it would be different. But in this COVID-19 situation, we have to lower all our taxation at the best we can, and try to invite commercial investor to come in the city. Thank you.
Okay. All right,
Kevin.
All right, Matt. I think this is going to be our last question for the night because of time. And so listen to the question very carefully, and you can opine as much as you want. Then we're going to do the closing. What are your plans for dealing with the expensive, continually growing cost of the pension and retirement for fire and police? What actions will you take if elected to ensure that fire and police pensions are sustainable for the long term, so that we do not have to increase taxes or issue debt to meet its obligations?
We're going to start with Rob Medina this time.
So right now, I believe, and I'm going to use this analogy. I did meet with several members. I'm yet to meet with the pension department, and I need to study that even in depth. But right now, what I've noticed is the pension fund is about 90% sustainable. In other words, and I equate it to a home. If you own your home at $100,000 home, $90,000 of it is paid off. And so I think the pension fund right now, it is sustainable. It is at a point where we can continue to build on. And how we move from there and what type of investments are done, that's the critical part that the board of the pension board needs to identify, and then moving forward. That's something that really needs to be studied. But I will say this: the men and women that protect us, that don a uniform every day for us, for our families, to protect us when we need them, they're there. It's not about when we need them, they don't show up. So we need to look at ways how we can protect them, how we can enhance their quality of life, how we can help them and help their families. Their families endure so much. They don't know when they leave that they'll be coming back. And so I'm a strong proponent. It's easy to say that you are a strong proponent of first responders, but I have family members that put on a uniform day in and day out. From call to call, they don't know what they're going to get. And every call brings its own complexities, brings its own dangers. And so there's a mindset that you have to prepare for the next call and forget about the call before that, and forget about the call and take that call, the next call, without that complacency. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you it is a difficult profession. It is a profession that we should be looking at to help and enhance and bring in others, and not be a training center for other agencies. Right now, we're actually competing. We're losing first responders to other agencies that we have trained for 3 to 5 years. Now, what is the cost that we're losing? That's all part of the pension. We have to make and keep the promises that we made to these men and women. And so I am adamant about protecting them and looking at ways that we can continue to provide the funds necessary to say, you know what, a job well done. You've given so much to the city. You've sacrificed so much for the city. And believe me when I tell you, these men and women, they love our city. They will do anything for our city. They don't punch a time clock. I remember I was at a local restaurant and you had law enforcement officials that were undercover. Now, do you think that they're with their families, they punch out a clock? Listen, I'm here to tell you that way of life is difficult. That way of life is to be commended. And so whatever we could do to enhance that pension, that's what we should do.
Okay, Alfred Agari.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rob Medina has said it all in a sense. We need to help and assist our first responders in any way we can, because there is two things we as elderly citizens need in our community is security and medicine. And, you know, in my love for these people, the first responder for our city, I actually had a car wash in June for the police, the fire department, and the Palm Bay Hospital. I had a car wash to show my love and appreciation for the first responder in our city. And I was physically there washing cars. And I think the pension plan is very, very good at this time. You know, it can be better. It just the end of 19 going into 2020, we had an increase in revenue. We had an increase in the property tax revenue, and most of that funds was going towards assisting the pension plan. Some of it was going towards some outstanding income that the unionized workers should be getting, and so on and so forth. So the city is trying their best, and I guess they had saw that these sectors need to be treated properly, and they deserve a good pension that they can sleep comfortable, making sure that they putting their all their work and their commitment and have a good result in the end of the day. So I think we should try our best to make funds available that we can maintain these pension funds, because they give them a peace of mind that they're doing a job that worth the while. The citizens depending on them, and we're looking forward for their support, and we're looking forward to support them in the best way we can. Thank you.
Okay, Mirage, you'll get the final word on this.
Of course, without a doubt, we have to do everything that we can to make sure that we are protecting our first responders. Again, that's why I put it on my platform, because after having conversations with the chief and kind of looking at the conditions that some of the working into fire stations closing down, there's mold issues in some of these stations, you realize that one person has to really, really love our city to be to stay here and continue with sometimes with the deplorable conditions that they may be in. So it is very, very important that we do everything to make sure that we are not only that's funding but maintaining their pension. Now, when you look at what we offer and compare to other cities, it's so important that we don't do anything to change that. The people who stay here, and I heard before, they love the city. They want to see it, improve, conditions improve, but they are here because of true love. And so when they come every morning and leave at evening, we have to respect the commitment that they have and honor that. And that's a part of the pension plan that we have for them. We promised that to them. We have to make sure that we're living up to that promise. All they want is for us to be fair. I don't believe nobody on the pension board is trying to say be unreasonable. And so as a city who know if we dial 911, we know that we're supposed to get police or fire, and we're not expecting anything else, and we want them to come in a timely manner. We have to make sure that they're protected, that their family are protected. I too have family members who are part of the fire department, and not in this city, but I know the struggle and I know the commitment that's there. So if it is that they have a pension plan, how dare us as a city not put every effort into make sure it's fully funded, it's maintained, and that we're doing right by these persons who have committed, dedicated their lives to serving us. Thank you.
Well, good finish to a interesting debate tonight. I think we're right up against our time limit here. And so I want to, on my own behalf, I want to thank the candidates for sharing their views and positions with voters in Palm Bay tonight. I want to thank you for getting involved, candidates, and for stepping up for your city. It's been very interesting. And on behalf of our moderators, again, thank you for participating in this tonight. I'm going to turn it back to Kevin for the final word.
Thank you, sir. Matt, what I want to do is have each of them do their closing remark as their Trump speech as to why everyone should vote for them in 1 minute or less. So starting with whoever you select, Matt.
Okay, well, 1 minute or less. We're going to start with K. Mirage.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and also Palm Bay Live and the team here for making this a very wonderful event. Now, again, my name is K. Mirage. I'm looking to be your mayor, and I'm someone who has integrity. I've served ever since I was a teenager. I've always worked hard. My family has always taught me the importance of hard work and the commitment to serving my community. And I will make sure that we are bringing transparency and ensuring that we have that level of accountability at all levels of city government, so that we will be rooting out corruption. And I want to make sure that we are not only just talking the talk, we're actually walking the walk. We're actually doing what makes sense. We are at a crossroads right now in the city of Palm Bay. Right leadership matters. We want to make sure that we have someone in place who is not just willing to play lip service, and what someone who's actually, again, ready to create that strategic plan, not just talking about it, but actually doing it, having a plan in place. And I'm that person. I'm fully committed to the job of mayor. I do my homework. I make sure that I'm ready to serve on day one. So I'm asking you for your vote on August 18th. Vote K. Mirage. For more information, you can go to my website, K for Palm Bay Mayor. And when our city, just say this, when our city needed us most, I was there to make sure I was providing information. I was there to make sure that I was helping our citizens to deal with issues of COVID-19 and the struggles of social discourse in our community. I will always be there in the good times and the bad times. Again, vote K. Mirage for Palm Bay Mayor. Thank you.
Rob Medina.
I have a vision. I have a vision that I see the city of Palm Bay coming together as a community, not just speaking about unity, but actually believing and enhancing and coming together for that. I have a vision that this city will once again be restored to the heights of an all-American city. I have a vision that I see prosperity where jobs and growth and our children are educated. I have that vision, a vision that we can all come together and restore the public trust in our local government, in our community. I have a vision where we all come together to achieve one common goal, to restore that this city, the city of Palm Bay, become a city of restoration, a city of prosperity, a city that we can all be proud of once again. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God continue to shine his face on the city of Palm Bay. Rob Medina for PB Mayor. Hoorah.
And Alfred Agari.
Yes, sir. I am Alfred Agari, you all know. This is one of the things that I keep saying. I got a track record. I have proven myself in so many ways as an individual, as a private citizen of this city. I donate, I contribute, and I volunteer for the past 10 years to this city. And in my eyes or in my mind, that should mean something. We just have an hurricane came close, and I was prepared to donate white sand because in these time it needed. We need to help our city and feel proud of doing it, and that's me. I decided to make a difference by stopping corruption and bribery in our city, help to protect our community in these uncertain times. With the COVID-19 is in our city at this time, we need to have that mindset that we are there to help and assist our citizens in any way we can. If I am elected for the if I am elected, I will donate my salary to the city budget for worthy causes. I even use my own car because I know we got some situation going on where even our present mayor, they dispute his car because they think he used it for private use. But I will even donate my car to this job to just to make sure we're helping personally for this city, helping the citizen, especially in these uncertain times. My main goal is to elevate the city to a higher standard. As Mr. Medina said, it's too low. We have a good standard. We have a 4-star rating a few years ago. No, we're barely making 2-star. So I want to elevate this city, and that track record will prove himself. And I am Alfred Ramsey Agari, running for mayor for the city of Palm Bay, an honest voice for the people to trust, and I mean that. This is where we stand with man and with God. This is where we stand, an honest voice for the people to trust. For more information, you can see me on Facebook or Twitter, Alfie Agari. On the website is Alfie Agari for pbmayor.com. Thank you all for your vote and support. May God bless us as a city and let us get through this COVID-19 situation in good health, strength, and happiness. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, candidates.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Kay. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Alfred, for joining us here tonight. This was a lovely, lovely session, and I'm hoping the voters of Palm Bay got the information they needed to make a decisive decision at the polls. And I wish you guys the best of luck in that regard. Whatever it is, I hope you guys will join me on August 18th. I will have election night coverage, and I'm hoping one of these candidates will be calling me in that night in order to announce their winning and to give their wishes to Palm Bay that night. We will be able to have them call in and talk to us live on the platform, and so that they can give their regards about their race. So please join me, and I believe Mr. Bailey is going to be joining me as well, Councilman Bailey, that night as well, and possibly Mr. Thomas Guam as well probably will step in as well. So this concludes the interviews, the debates for this cycle, and we're going to get ready to go into the fall cycle. And starting off in about August 11th, we will have our first panel interview. That's August 11th at 8 p.m. And please join me for that. And then August 18th, again, election night. And then we'll have a slew of interviews right after that, going all the way up into October for the general election. So thank you guys for your support. Thank you for standing behind me. I try to do this thing to provide a platform for everybody in order to come and get the information they need during this COVID situation. And hopefully I did you well. I did you proudly, and hopefully it paid off. So thank you. And again, thank you, Matt. Thank you to the rest of the team, and Godspeed. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good night, sir.
And thank you, Kevin, for putting this venue together, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, good job, good job. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to attend. I'm